Perhaps there is no greater natural wonder in the world than Niagara Falls, created by the Niagara River, which flows from Lake Erie to Lake Ontario, a distance of about 35 miles, separating the state of New York from the Canadian province of Ontario. A panorama from the Ontario side of the river reveals the magnificent Canadian Cascade, better known as Horseshoe Falls, and the smaller American cataract with the modern skyline of the city of Niagara Falls, New York in the background. Just opposite the American city is Niagara Falls, Ontario. In recognition of the importance of Niagara's great spectacle, the province of Ontario and the state of New York have retained or acquired title to the adjacent lands and converted them into parks, which are maintained at public expense for the convenience of visitors. It has been estimated that the beauty and grandeur of Niagara Falls and its adjacent parks attract over 2 million visitors every year. To provide for this transient trade, numerous hotels and restaurants have been established on both sides of the Niagara River. And among the best of these is the Park Restaurant, maintained by the Ontario Parks Commission, from the terrace balcony of which the falls may be seen in all their intimate grandeur. After its turbulent tumble from the falls, the water of the Niagara River surges along its lower rapids with a velocity that fills the valley with the sound of its unceasing roar. And at the point where the river makes one of its sharpest and most spectacular turns, a unique conveyance has been provided for the convenience of passengers who would view the stream from thrilling angles. Due to the fact that this conveyance was originally operated by a Spanish company, it is still known as the Spanish Aero Car, although its present owners are Americans. According to geologists, the Niagara River came into existence when the waning of the Great Canadian Glacier laid bare the western part of the Ontario Basin, and they estimate the age of the river at over 25,000 years. After rushing into Whirlpool Basin, over which the Aero Car travels, the river curves around into a straighter and more peaceful course, and soon reaches a depth that makes it navigable again for passenger boats plying between this point and Lake Ontario. Overlooking the mouth of the river at Niagara-on-the-Lake stands Fort George, built by British engineers at the close of the 18th century. During the War of 1812, Fort George surrendered to the Americans and was almost completely destroyed, but it has recently been restored by the Canadian Parks Commission, and it stands today as an exact duplicate of the original. Among the soldiers who fought and died here was General Isaac Brock, the British hero of Upper Canada, who was admired by his enemies as well as his friends. When the American General Hull invaded Canada with 2,500 men, Brock's strategy forced the surrender of the Americans, and when he fell in battle, minute guns were fired by the American Army posts across the river as a mark of respect to a brave enemy. Later, the mortal remains of General Brock were removed from here to a final resting place on Queenstown Heights, over which this imposing monument has been erected in fitting tribute to his memory. That was about 130 years ago, and today, as far as the peoples of the United States and the British Empire are concerned, the Union Jack, which flies beside the grave of General Brock, has changed from the flag of an enemy to the flag of a friend. Moonlight on the Niagara now diverts our thoughts from the very long ago and brings us closer to more peaceful reveries when Niagara Falls assumed the romantic title of Honeymoon Land, and a little boat called the Maid of the Mist specialized in sailing honeymooners around the falls. Perhaps in this audience there may be grandparents or married couples who remember the old Maid of the Mist and Niagara Falls as the highlight of a romantic honeymoon. And if your narrator may be so bold as to inject a personal thought, he here confesses that he traveled around the world 6 times before he saw Niagara Falls, and it was his bride who first showed it to him. Honeymoon Bridge collapsed in an ice jam a few years ago, and now this huge edifice has taken its place. Although it is called Rainbow Bridge, it is a staunch contact between the United States and Canada, joining them even closer together in their bonds of friendship. And here is Maid of the Mist number 2, the junior member of an enterprise which now requires 2 Maids of the Mist to accommodate the ever-increasing number of visitors, if not honeymooners, who come to enjoy the magnificent grandeur of Niagara Falls. Because of clouds of mist which often envelop the boat in its brief but spectacular cruise, these rubber coats are made available to passengers, transforming them into strange-looking characters who might have come from some other planet. And now we behold in all its colorful glory the natural wonder of the world, Niagara Falls. And so this great natural wonder of the world continues to pour forth its inexhaustible strength and grandeur. Mighty Niagara, we worship at thy shrine, for thou dost giveth to the tottering spirit of mankind renewed faith in the unfailing powers of creation.